So let's begin conversations. But before we get into that, let me just take a little bit of outlook right here. It says before COVID-19 pandemic, the global tourism industry contributed 9.2 trillion US dollars, well, to global GDP. Now, it was considered one of the fastest growing industries, accounting for at least one in every four new jobs globally. Fast forward to 2021, and the pandemic has all but crippled the sector. Tourism demand, arrivals, travel, and the use of facilities and services contracted by an estimated 74% in 2020. Now, this has cost the industry upwards of 1.3 trillion US dollars and has compromised millions of jobs. Now, the African region shared an estimate of 83 billion US dollars in GDP contribution, down by 49.2% and lost up to 7.2 million industry jobs compared to 2019 levels. My colleagues are all prepped up ready to join me as we, look at this particular conversation. A big one. Hafiz,
Yeah, Barry.
are you shocked by the billion trillion of dollars I'm mentioning?
Not at all.
A very, I think for me, I think it's one of the hardest hit sector in this, what do you call it, this pandemic season.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, it's one of the industries that took a battering,
Right.
if you'd like, because of everything that happened. And you can say yes, because of the pandemic, we saw a lot of grounded flights as well.
Exactly.
So, for a lot of sectors, especially industries that depended on international tourism, you realize that it was the hardest hit, like you said.
Right.
And according to numbers from the World Travel and Tourism Council, now for 2019, now this is a sector that employed more than 24 million people across the continent. And so, if it was the hardest
More
hit,
than.
yes, more than
Wow.
24 million people across the continent.
Not until COVID came around, I never knew the tourism sector actually had a lot of employees in there.
Oh, it's huge. It's
Serious, like I knew people worked in that sector, but the numbers and the rate at which people lost their jobs, whoa,
Yeah.
whoa.
You almost guessed. Anyway, but uh, that's the enormity of the situation we are facing as a continent. And for me, I've always maintained that. I mean, I've always maintained that with COVID, what it actually did was, or what it has done, because well, we are still in,
Exactly.
facing it anyway, is that it has, exposed the cracks, the paper cracks that we have, and that is what we are seeing. Because for me, with COVID, if you look at international travels, it seems that is what our industry has over relied on
Right.
international tourism. Where if you look at the leisure and safari-oriented facilities, it is catered to more North American, European, and Asian clientele. Yes, and there's very little, attention given to domestic and interregional tourism.
Right.
And so for me, I believe that is where it comes from. Now, yes, I could be saying this and you're saying, well, this is just Hafiz making stuff up. But, well, I can lie. Numbers don't lie. And according to the World Travel and Tourism Council again, now domestic travel alone on the continent, we are talking about some 55% of contributions to GDP for 2019.
Whoa.
Compared to North America, where it was 83%. In Europe, there was 64%. And Asia, Asia Pacific, we are talking some 74%. So those are the numbers. And clearly, when it comes to domestic tourism, we are not doing too well. Yes, there seems to
We, by we, you mean the continent?
the continent,
Right.
exactly. Yes, there seems to be a reliance on international tourism. Now, the downside to relying on international tourism, because I'm not saying it's bad, because well, that's where a chunk of the revenue comes from,
Yep.
especially foreign exchange.
Yep.
But when you are looking at, its resilience to shocks, it's very poor when it comes to relying on it. And I'll tell
Right.
you why. Why? Because, I mean, in terms of economic recessions, when it hits, a lot of people are unable to travel. Why? Because there's very little disposable income.
Exactly.
Yes, so they are unable to make travel plans because of it.
Yeah.
So if you have an economy or a tourism industry that is reliant on foreign travelers, you're going to have
You're gonna lose
yes,
a lot.
you're going to have a lot of trouble when these are the situations your target market are dealing with.
True.
Yes. Now another situation that very easily deals with international tourism is the fact that with issues of terrorism. Yes. Now, so if your area or your country is dealing with issues of terrorism and everything, so if you, for instance, take the northern side of Nigeria,
Nigeria. Mm-hmm.
the activities of Boko Haram and
Yeah,
everything,
yeah.
of course, I mean, you wouldn't say terrorism is vibrant
No,
in that sector.
irrespective of whatever is
Exactly,
there.
because of the security concerns and everything.
Absolutely.
So then again, international tourism is going to take a hit.
Exactly.
Yes, over there because of issues like that.
Hmm.
Then again, you have issues of natural disasters that
Mm-hmm.
has the potential to affect international tourism a whole lot. Even pandemics, such as Ebola in Guinea that we saw.
Mm.
I mean, when it came up, I think last year and even this year, when you mentioned the country and
Yeah.
everyone is
It's
like,
kind of like
oh,
no, it's not.
Ebola,
It's no
everything.
no go area.
Exactly.
Mm.
Then you have the epidemic we are in now, COVID. And so these are some of the shocks that,
Mm.
when you are heavily reliant on international tourism,
Mm.
these are some of the shocks that, that could easily derail your plans
Right.
as far as, revenue, raising revenue or
Generation.
generation that is.
Right.
So,
Right.
because you see, the consequences of this is dire.
Mm.
Okay. In the first 3 months of, since when the pandemic hit,
Right.
we're talking about some 2 million job losses across the continent. 2
2
million.
million job
Yes.
losses.
And worldwide, we're talking about some 55 million.
55
Yeah.
million
So,
job losses.
that's how
Yeah.
huge it is.
Mm.
And according to the United Nations Conference on Trade and Development, UNCTD, now any normalcy that is going to be restored in this industry, I mean, it's something we should expect somewhere 2023.
Yeah. We're not looking at any time soon, huh?
Exactly.
Mm.
So it's the picture is
It's not. It's not. It's not clear.
it's not so.
Future's not promising, huh?
I mean,
But you made mention of the heavy the countries, heavily relying on international, tourism
tourism.
and everything. So by that, to sometimes at least to a larger extent, try to manage the situation, encouraging, local patronage is very much,
Absolutely,
important in that
absolutely.
regard, right?
Yes, yes,
Mm,
yes.
mm.
And if you watch, some countries have actually hacked it because if you look at international tourism and the countries it has affected, I think mostly it has affected the North African countries.
Mm.
Yes, but I think even Ghana got affected. I mean, we saw what happened with the year of return and how
Yeah,
well it was received.
yeah.
And because of COVID, of course, it's not
It
something that is
truncated it a
viable.
little bit.
Exactly.
Mm, mm.
So it hit us hard in that
Right.
department. But
African. Okay.
we are
Mhm.
talking 2023,
Mm.
and I doubt if that is even going to happen because of the way we've seen the pandemic getting
Now again,
treated.
resurfacing and
Yes, it's
third wave,
mutated, and you have people
Delta.
still going about life as though it has ended.
Right.
And well, with vaccine and everything, there's still a lot of vaccine
Uncertainty.
hesitancy and
Yeah,
everything.
that's
Yes.
that's another conversation again.
Yes, and countries have had to introduce vaccine passports where you have to show proof of vaccination before you access certain facilities and everything.
Yeah,
So,
recently there was this rioting in France. Even as young as 12 years of age, you need to have a certain,
so
pass to prove it.
yeah, so
Mm.
2023, well, I doubt it, but let's see what happens.
Something can happen. African tourism industry in the pandemic is what we are talking about today on our discussion zone on the Africa Daily Show. Share your thoughts with us as well. How is the tourism industry in your country faring? Is it bouncing back? Is it still at where COVID, pushed it to be? Or what's the situation? You might want to share that with us on our Facebook page, Africa Global Radio, or on Twitter. AF Global Radio when tweeting, use the hashtag the Africa Daily Show or via our WhatsApp number +233207064 680. Let's talk to Africa Global Radio Tourism Ambassador, my mate. I mean, yeah, she. why are you laughing? That's the truth. She's the tourism ambassador here, and she represents Africa Global Radio. Ambassador wise. Why are you laughing? Is that not true?
Where have I
You talk
traveled?
mostly about,
Seychelles.
stuff happened. Seychelles, Mauritius, recently changed to
Gabon,
Barbados, Gabon, Niger. She said no,
a
but
long list.
there's a place you might want to visit. But Niger has the largest protected area in the world, or in Africa. Yeah, like
Okay.
protected reserve area in
Okay.
Africa. So you might want to. That should be a place of.
Oh yeah, I mean,
know.
I actually have plans, inshallah.
Okay, because you're going to Niger. Inshallah is coming to the picture. People are being.
I was just going to say I actually have plans to
Right.
tour the continent
Okay.
because initially
Mm,
before starting,
right.
before my mind was decolonized,
Right.
before being open to all of the possibilities, all the things Africa
On the
has to
continent.
offer.
Right.
We see us and then we talk about how I want to go to Bali and I want to go to Santorini
Yeah.
and I want to go
Greece
to
and all this.
Greece
Yeah.
and I want to go to Maldives. But the things I have seen
Yeah.
and the things I have learnt
Right.
and the things in my head right now, I would rather tour Africa than travel anywhere else.
True. 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 So yeah, pandemic and tourism sector here.
Yeah, so I will be looking at how tourist facilities have adapted
Okay.
since the pandemic started.
Right.
I
right.
mean, first and foremost, initially, let's start with Ghana
Mm.
because I've been to one or two places in Ghana.
Okay.
All you had to do is just you wake up one day, you can decide to go see Kakum
Mm.
or go to the castle with your
Zule,
family.
Zule Zoo.
I've never been there.
Haven't you?
Have you?
It's a very brilliant. It's something else. I can explain the feeling or the ambience, but hey, Serenity Super, houses on water, man. It's great. Yeah, everything is everything happens on on that water body.
I would love to see it sometime.
Yeah.
So, like I was saying, like in the past, you could
Mm.
just up and just visit any tourist place
Yep.
because you feel like it.
Mm.
But due to the
Pandemic.
pandemic, these days you'd have to call to make an appointment.
Mm.
You have to call to make an appointment. Maybe you call and you're like, "We want to come there tomorrow.
Mm.
Is it available?" And because of the pandemic, they have slots,
Okay.
and the slots have to be limited.
Right.
Right? So you have to call to book.
Mm.
If you don't book, you can't just up and go see the place. You go there and they tell you due to COVID restrictions,
Yeah.
they cannot let
They
you
can.
in
Yeah. They have a
the
limited
facility.
intake. Huh?
Yes. And
Right.
then we've seen no nose mask, no entry.
Yeah. Another new.
So there's that.
Mm-hmm.
And there's having to wash your hand before you enter a place. And then one of the big things that tourist facilities are doing that's actually applaud is they do virtual tours now.
Oh yeah.
I remember
yeah.
when this country was in lockdown and we're doing the show from the house.
Mm-hmm.
I talked about an event, a virtual tour that was happening someplace, and I remember a safari virtual tour as
Yeah,
well.
you talked about it here. I remember
Yes,
that.
so it's like that is very innovative. I
It
mean,
is. It is.
sitting in the comfort of your home and then being taken through all the places in this
Yeah.
tourist facility by a tour guide.
Yeah, shows.
I mean, even if COVID goes, I think people will still
would
do
want
that.
to. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I mean,
yeah.
sometimes before you travel to a place, let's say you're even traveling outside Accra,
Mm-hmm.
you're less than limited to outside Accra. You have to find accommodation.
Yep.
If it's not a place you're hoping to return from, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have to find accommodation,
Mm-hmm.
and then comes feeding.
Yeah.
And let's say if you're like me and you don't like sitting in vehicles for so long, then it means you're looking at booking a flight.
Exactly.
And all of these things come to money.
right. Right.
So instead of just gathering all of this money, which I might not have at that point in time,
okay.
I could just pay a little amount and see the store. In as much as I mean, seeing it physically, being there
It's a different
is a
feeling.
plus. I mean, you just have to because
Compromise.
of the circumstance. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think these things are helping in a way. In as much
Okay.
as it is not like when we had open doors
Yeah.
and then people could just troop in and come see and then all of that. I think they cannot completely shut down. I mean, there are some tourist facilities that can completely shut down, but there are some who have to run. So
Right.
these are the basic ways that these tourist facilities are using to run, especially since the pandemic hit.
Right. And here in our base Ghana.
Here in Abyss, Ghana as well.
Right, the show was Africa Daily on Africa Global Radio. African tourism in the pandemic is our discussion today on the Africa Daily Show. Hafiz, now, aside this whole COVID, pandemic thing, shattering the industry, crippling it, now people have got to lose their jobs and what have you. I mean, we've also, I don't know, if it hasn't gotten to that stage where we should be panicking, but recent, cases also of Marburg virus. Marburg virus. I don't know if you've heard of it. And then there's another. Cote d'Ivoire has also recorded its first case of Ebola again. So should we be worried here? COVID. What's the situation?
Look, normal life as we know it, it's still going to go on
Mm.
in some way or the other. Yes, we just have to do things a bit more differently now.
Mm.
Yes, but I mean, it's almost like there's some sort of economic end to it.
Yeah.
But I mean, the medical end to the virus is not something that we're going to see anytime soon. And by medical, well, a vaccine is something that we have now, but
To effectively.
there's still a whole lot of issues
Yeah.
surrounding the vaccine.
Oh
Some are
yeah.
saying they won't take it, others will take it, and then there's a lot
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
misinformation and disinformation out there
Yeah.
surrounding it. So there's a whole lot of issues out there, and well, government government machinery has to run
Mm.
for some reason. And now, and when you talk about the tourism industry and everything that is to happen because of what we've seen so far, you see, Mami put out some very good points about what some of them are doing. And
Mm.
just to add a little to that, I think domestically
Mm.
is something that we've been forced to really look at because
Right.
of this whole situation. Yes, I mean previously you would have hotels and sites, basically focusing on foreigners. And
Yeah.
even sometimes when you go there and you ask for certain local meals, they struggle. They tell you they don't have
Yeah.
them, but
Because they're not meant for you.
exactly the foreign ones are readily
Mm.
available. And
Right.
so, but these days they are forced to look more inwards.
Yeah.
Yes,
And
yes,
yeah.
and
Mhm.
I think some places in Kenya are doing that already in terms of the game reserves and the parks and everything. They've
Mm.
decided to slash the entry fees, the admission
Mm.
fees into these
Yeah.
places, just
Yeah.
so local tourists can have a feel of these places.
Mm.
Yes, and they've done that. There's also the issue of also looking at infrastructure as well, because I mean, and infrastructure, we should be looking at infrastructure away from the capital cities.
Mm.
Now, one of the qualms I had with the year of return was the fact that it was something that was largely sold off on the slavery,
Yeah.
situation.
Bases.
Yes,
Yeah.
and understandably, well, the castles and forts and everything is in the coastal towns and
Mm.
everything. But I felt we missed a bigger opportunity to actually sell off, certain
The
places
entire
up there.
country.
Exactly,
Yeah.
certain places up north.
Mm.
So you have travelers going there. But Mami made a point about, having to travel and worrying about where you're going to
Sleep.
stay
Yeah.
and
What you
everything,
would eat and
what
all.
you would eat and everything.
Mm.
And if, accommodation arrangements down here is better than up there, of course, there's no incentive to want to see these places because
Yeah.
I mean, if there aren't, better facilities up there, why would I want to visit these places?
Mm.
Even though, I mean, they also boast of certain very important attractions, such
Sites.
as,
Yeah.
the slave market and
The Salaga slave
yes,
market. Yeah.
slave market, the Larabang hanging stone, and
Yeah. Yeah.
the
Yeah.
mosque
The
and
mosque
everything.
itself.
So these are very interesting places. But of
Mm.
course, if the infrastructure is not right,
Mm.
I might, drag my feet when it comes to visiting these places.
Mm.
There's also I think it's something we really need to consider. That is promoting affordable alternatives.
Mm.
Yes, there are certain places they mention. I mean, you want to visit, but admission fee alone is something
Yeah.
that is going to
It's
deter
no
you.
joke, huh?
Exactly. If there's an alternative, well, that is within this, my pocket range. Of course,
Mm.
I mean, I would like to
Yeah.
see it,
Yeah.
uh, but I've seen certain places where the admission fees for foreigners
It's
and
moderate.
locals is different. It's
Okay,
actually
here in
different.
Ghana,
Yes,
I was
yes.
about mentioning that where subsidies are meant for the locals, the citizens
Yeah,
here, and then the foreigners actually pay a
absolutely.
certain
So
premium
I
amounts
think
and what
if
have you.
that is something that is still being done,
Mm.
is something that should be encouraged.
But I
Yes.
think it should be because I think to a larger extent we've made tourism here unattractive to the locals. You know why? Because as you said, you get to a hotel, a motel, you're looking at some continental dishes and what have you, and then the price also maybe you might not be even be interested in taking it. You want to have your wache and your local banquet and what have you, and then here you are presented with local international cuisines and what have you, and then you cannot afford. So that alone would just put you off. You
Well,
don't get
their argument is that all these facilities are given. Well, the majority of their
customers.
clientele or the customers
Mm.
they have are foreigners, and so there's they are always providing these meals. So they don't exactly get locals coming around
I don't
to,
know. Mommy,
to
help me
visit
out.
these places
I don't know.
to have that.
But isn't also
Even when locals come, they
presenting
leave. unlike foreigners that come to
No.
probably take a 2 day or 3 day visit.
But what could be the problem? Because even if a foreigner comes to your country, I believe even introducing your local delicacies to them is also another form of tourism.
I think it's about making the tourists comfortable,
Mm.
right? So unless they actually ask that, oh, I heard about this food and I would like to try it,
Right.
you have to give them what they are used
The
to.
only international food out there that they might want to try is jollof.
I mean, Steve Harvey came to Ghana and he has been going on and on about the shit he got from papaya. Like,
That's one. That's the only one.
so I think basically it's about making the tourists comfortable. And like Hafiz said, most of their customers are foreigners.
Right.
So instead of doing a variety of foods that these people might not eat, let's give them what they are used to so that when a special order is made,
Yeah.
then we can make it. I think when you go to these places and you make special orders like for local foods, and it could be expensive, they do it.
Okay.
So it's just basically about making, I think, a greater percentage of the people that patronize the place
Yeah.
comfortable.
Right.
And
But
also, I think one thing that would help the tourism industry it's the vaccination numbers.
yeah.
We're still in a pandemic, remember, and well, there's a whole lot of talks, and and I think if you have your vaccination numbers going up,
Mm-hmm.
chances are you would have more tourists, more feeling more comfortable to wanting to visit.
Yeah.
Yes, even though it's
Yeah.
a bit more difficult these
It's
days.
true.
But
It's
yes,
true.
you could have your tourist numbers go up in a time like this because I mean to completely eradicate COVID, I'm not seeing it happen anytime soon.
It's a long term.
Yes,
What do you call it?
yes.
Vision.
So
But
for those that are more thrill seekers and still willing to risk it, I mean, having your vaccination numbers up will help. In swaying their, whatever.
also,
their opinion
I
on
think
that.
here in our base, I think that they're actually up and going. Recently, they launched a certain, tourism. I don't know if it's a what initiative. This bus thing, all painted in, the Ghanaian
and
flag.
open top bars.
Exactly. Here, I
But
think it
come
was.
on, people were. I saw the comments when that
People
was
were like-
launched, and people were asking, so in this scorching sun.
I mean, it's tourism,
Open
right?
top buses?
Yeah.
Like the ones they use in
In the
UK.
UK, yeah, in the UK.
Okay.
Yeah, so you have a tour guide,
Yeah.
taking you around.
But no, but I think it's
Oh,
a
but
step.
I mean,
It's a
yeah,
step.
I think it's a step because how do we?
It's the way they
when,
consent for.
hold on. When you watch
If you-
videos in South Africa and the tour guy is that car is the Land Rover is moving
yeah,
around.
They call it. I've forgotten.
It's
they call it.
it doesn't it's a
Wait,
similar
wait,
thing.
wait. So is the weather a problem for you guys?
For me, no.
Okay, let's.
I don't think
think
it is a
you
problem
should.
for
If
me.
you know you're going to a tourist place and the sun is out, you dress for it. Basically.
And I want to believe there
No,
are
but
times
I'm just
that
looking at the open top bars, something. Charlie.
no. But I
I
don't
think what they
it's-
can do is because of the climate we seem to find ourselves because of the way the climate of this place is set, they could cover it with something, not
Like a
necessarily
shed.
cover like a shed. Like you see these things that you're talking about
the
that
tourist
they use.
the
Yeah,
rope,
they call it the Ranger something. I've
the
forgotten
Ranger
the name.
truck.
I don't know.
I don't
But
know.
you know they they cover it with
Yeah,
these
it was
things.
kinda like a
and
shed on top of
yeah,
it.
it's like,
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you watch safari stuff, dude?
No.
You don't watch? Go watch some today.
So they could do that on days where the
You
sun
get-
is like out.
and I want to believe that.
And I think those things like it's just like a convertible. You can take them off.
yeah, you can
right?
take them
you can
off.
take them off. It's just some
And
type
besides,
of
I don't
material. So
think-
they can do that.
I don't think anybody would want to sit
in the
up there
sun.
in the scorchy sun.
Yeah. So
But the whole idea, idea is that okay, well, sit there and then as we take you around, we talk to you about the landmarks and everything.
so they could
so-
take what I just said into consideration. I
Exactly.
mean, cover it up, and then when the sun is not out, you
Now
can
you
just
guys
take
can
it
just
off.
get up there and start sightseeing. But I think
it
it's
just sounds like a lot of trouble.
but I think is look at you.
Covering it and
Here we're,
removing it.
here we're trying to get out of this whole crippling system. Yeah, I think it's anyway, but I think it's a right step. I think it's more of like one of those measures. At least they're doing what they can do to revamp the sector, and then give it a direction generally, and make it more what do you call it, attractive to the locals here. Yeah.
An open top bus. Okay.
Yeah, guy, behave yourself. But real quick. Zambia, the incumbent President Edgar Lungu has lost, and the opposition leader, after running for for
Yes.
5 times, now
This
his
is the fifth
sixth time,
Wow.
he won. Guy never gave up.
Challenge.
Guy never gave up. Yeah,
Edgar is
Hichilema.
not taking it too well. He's complaining about rigging. And each time I hear African leaders
No, but
complain
why is it that when it doesn't go in favor of the incumbents, then there's rigging?
No, but the thing is, with incumbents,
Yeah.
you have what's the name? You know, state apparatus at your disposal.
I had to
Okay,
be
so
able to do what?
to be able to control everything. So
Control
if
what?
indeed you
Behave yourself.
you come out and rather screaming you got cheated. What exactly are you saying?
What exactly are you saying?
What exactly is this?
You have all the
What is
resources
it?
at your disposal.
No,
What
what
are
do you mean? What do you mean?
saying?
So the security guys just
No,
like,
what I'm saying is the chances of an opposition rigging the elections is slim to
It's,
none.
yes, it's
Yeah,
because
that's right.
every other president,
Okay.
then
Okay.
everybody hears you.
I mean,
but
everyone salutes you.
But in,
really.
but in most cases, when the incumbent loses, they claim it has been
Yeah,
rigged. I mean, it
well.
happened in Gambia, right?
Well,
It happened in other countries, but then,
Then unless your people sell you out.
oh yeah, they did, because the margin is huge.
I hear about $1 million or so.
Yeah, the margin is huge.
Before you know, too, the people in the country are tired.
Yeah, maybe the guy have. Yeah, I think he's been there for some
No
time
matter how
now.
tired they are, some have maintained it.
Oh yeah, I mean, some will vote, some will still vote,
So, yeah.
irrespective of how bad things are.
So congratulations to the opposition leader Hichilema. After 5 attempts, his 5th attempt,
Imagine.
How many times did Ronaldo try?
3. Me too, chairman now. I mean, this guy has six times. Yeah.
So this is safe.
So you start.
And how old is he?
He's
Yes,
50, he's
sometimes
59.
we were
He's
talking about-
59. He's 59 years of age.
Come
What is he old? I mean, Macron is
What?
okay, 49.
I think I saw this tweet, right?
Yeah.
He's in his 40s.
And then somebody was like, somebody asked a question about something that we don't usually talk about.
Age.
Then this guy goes like, we don't talk about how between 70 and 80-year-olds are seen to be sometimes not mentally bright in the head, so they have to retire.
Yeah.
But when it comes to running the affairs of a country,
Mm.
we see them to be fit.
But on a more serious note, I think we really need to check our age. But yeah, Macron, I just checked 43,
43. Yeah.
and Justin Trudeau is rather 49
49.
of Canada. Young guys, and these guys.
It's
are
our
running-
constitution, though.
No, there's not. The constitution gives us what 40. At the age of 40, you can run.
40. I
But the people now give you.
You know, it's
you
all
struggle
this.
till you get
It's, it's actually this age and being wise thing. I mean,
Who is wiser?
basically,
Is it the one with?
I think,
with
especially when you come to our setting here,
Yeah.
it has to do with age
Age
and
and-
being
yeah,
wise. So
yeah,
it's like
yeah.
if you are 40, they're like
sit down.
managing the affairs of the
My friend,
country. It's just
sit down. Well,
You have
when
to
it comes back, I just remember Kisi Ajabeng's response and I smile.
what? Yeah.
Yeah, the special prosecutor.
Exactly. Yeah.
What he said at the
Yeah.
appointments
Exactly.
committee.
Yeah.
so-
Yeah. But let's see, maybe what the future may look like. But we really need to look at this because if the country has the biggest youth population in the world,
and we're not allowing.
you'd
the
want to
youth
see.
take
Yeah, you would
part
want
in-
to see
in the running
some.
of the country.
I think
It's
I don't know
like,
if this guy's the
what are we
youngest.
doing?
No. The
That's
Chadian.
And
Chadian
even
president.
Ethiopia, Abiy Ahmed,
Abiy is not the president. The lady is the president. Abiy is the prime minister.
prime minister rather.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Abiy's not. But maybe if
I'm talking about his age. He's also
yeah,
relatively
Abiy is young. Yeah, but we're looking to see if Assimi Goita finally retains. He may be one of the youngest, and of course,
really.
the Chadian. What's your problem? Anyway, thank you guys for joining us on the Conversation Zone, and thanks to my colleagues Hafiz and Mame.